Okay, this is from the book John McDougall, The Doctor Who Fought for You by me, Pete Rogers. We're on chapter 19. These are quotes of Dr. John McDougall from his different lectures and books. So, another thing, somebody said some of the other famous nutrition doctors are jealous of Dr. McDougall because he was clearly the best. He was the best one. He had the best lectures, the best knowledge. He knew the literature better than anybody else. Okay, here's a quote by Nathan Pritikin. The American Diabetic Association diet is designed to make sure that diabetes patients are never cured. Yeah, great. Okay, now quotes from Dr. McDougall. In the 1970s, the plant-based manual laborers in Hawaii would retire at 65. They would go to the Philippines and get a new young wife in her 20s, often in her 20s, and have a new family with no Viagra. They would live healthy into their late 80s. That's the plant-based diet right there. Nutrition journals were more reliable before the mid-1980s, when many were bought by the big companies. It is absolutely essential to get some sunshine. Vitamin D in a pill form is toxic. Okay, you hear that? Vitamin D in a pill form is toxic. Because a lot of people ask me, what do I recommend about vitamin D? What does Dr. McDougall recommend about vitamin D? There it is. Dr. McDougall also said he wouldn't give vitamin D to anybody in a pill form unless they were institutionalized and couldn't go outside. Okay, Dr. McDougall continues. Vitamin D in a pill form can lead to increased risk of falls and fractures. And then he says, Dr. Kempner is one of my heroes. The great rice diet doctor. Ansel Keys was a good man who did good research. Okay, because a lot of people try to badmouth Ansel Keys because they're trying to, make meat look good. McDougall studied him and said Ansel Keys was a good man who did good research. Dennis Burkitt was the first one to tell me that diet had anything to do with disease. Yeah, he went to a resident lecture in the early 1970s, and he heard Burkitt, and it got him to realize, gee, diet could make a big difference. Hard cheeses are the most acidic foods. Populations eating meat, oil, and junk food are just a blip in history in the last 50 to 100 years. Before that, only kings and queens ate a lot of meat. In the long ago days before tobacco, air pollution, and processed food, the kings and queens of the past who ate a lot of meat had atherosclerosis and related disease like gout. Okay, here's a good quote by McDougall. I'm the luckiest doctor in the world because my patients get better. Yeah, the public doesn't understand that in real conventional clinical medicine, these patients never get better. There are no cures for diabetes, heart disease, obesity, coronary artery disease, hypertension, the chronic diseases. Okay, Dr. McDougall, you're not going to win in the medical business. The smart option is to get out of the medical business safely. You can get out of the medical business by becoming healthy. Eat a healthy diet, exercise, get off those medications. I have seen 3 generations raised as vegans. They're healthy and they're smart. What keeps me going isn't fame or fortune, it's my patients. The real reward comes from sitting down with one person and making a difference in their life. Okay, here's a picture called My Fair Lady, and the two people in the painting here, they look quite a bit like Dr. McDougall and his wife Mary, like Dr. McDougall working in the operating room with Mary. She was an operating room nurse. So it's a very lovely painting. And it was called My Fair Lady by Edmund Leighton from 1914. Dr. McDougall said when he met Mary, it was love at first sight. Okay, Dr. McDougall says, starch has unlocked the door to good health for thousands of my patients. Starch is better than fruit for satisfying hunger. There is no such thing as a fruitarian population. Okay, so people don't understand what a big deal is. You've got all these patients dying left and right, plus it's ischemia, hypoxia, lack of oxygen delivery. That's the major thing that increases the risk of cancer. So what I'm saying is this minimizes that. In plant-based populations eating starch-based diets, they've got hardly any cancer, dramatically lower rates of cancer, dramatically lower rates of hypertension, diabetes, coronary artery disease, stroke, and all the atherosclerosis-related diseases, spinal degeneration. Dr. McDougall continues, the gladiators were barley men. Sweet potatoes are probably the healthiest food in the world. Starch is a better name than complex carbohydrate. Complex carbohydrate confuses people. Starch is what the body needs. Starch is what satisfies hunger. And you have to satisfy hunger to stay with the diet. Okay. Dr. Mcdougall continues, all large healthy populations eat a starch-based diet. There are no exceptions. Eating starch is the most important thing for health. Starch is cheap. Humans are starchivores. Most of your calories, about 90%, should come from cooked starch. Okay, that's a big statement. Dr. Mcdougall, the best doctor in the world, says 90% of your calories should come from cooked starch. That's an important statement. People who eat that way, they're skinny. They seldom get hypertension or diabetes or coronary artery disease. Starch is the solution on how to become healthy. So his best book was Starch Solution, and there's the statement, because starch is the solution for how to become healthy. Okay, here we go. You can see the truth. Starch eaters are thin and healthy. Before 1970, when the Chinese ate 90% of their calories from rice, 1 billion out of 1 billion were thin. If you want to help someone to become healthier, teach them how to eat a low-fat, starch-based, whole food, plant-based diet. The Mcdougall diet is a cost-free, side-effect-free treatment for most of the chronic Western diseases. That's all true. Okay, that'll be it for today. We'll break the quote section up into about 3 parts. So hopefully that was enjoyable and helpful for you.